as soon as he stepped out, he was ambushed by two individuals and he was shot dead.
My message to Mr. Fuentes-Gramajo: there are millions of eyes looking for you. We will find you.
Now, Turmel was at the top of Canada's most wanted list, suspected of leading the Blood Family Mafia street gang even while on the run.
Let's call it the way it is. That's torture, and I was shocked. I've never seen that in Quebec.
Rabih Alkhalil has been convicted twice for murder and has ties to organized crime.
If you know where Rabih Alkhalil is, we don't need your name. We don't need your location. We just need to find him.
Canada currently has 181 active red notices for individuals wanted in Canada that are believed to be abroad.
Every one of us, every police officer serving in this room, every member of the public, have a part to play in locating these wanted fugitives.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Crime Beat. I'm Anthony Robart. Each year, police release their top 25 list of those most wanted for serious crimes. The Be on the Lookout program, or BOLO, offers rewards up to $250,000 for information leading to an arrest. So since 2018, this effort has led to the capture of 45 suspects. Tonight, we detail how police tracked, located, and ultimately brought these suspected criminals to justice. Here now is Manhunt. In the shadows of Vancouver's North Shore Mountains, Canada's most wanted are about to step into the light.
To make our new top 25 more real than ever before, we decided to invite all our top 25 suspects to this announcement. We're trying to make this as real as possible. Make no mistake, these dangerous individuals are somewhere among us. The physical traits of each model behind me matches the fugitive that he or she is portraying.
The models behind the masks are police officers from across Canada, asking you to be on the lookout.
Look at their faces. Remember their faces. Right now, all our top 5 suspects have a reward of up to $100,000 for any information leading to their arrest,
including their new number 1.
If you don't make it to number 1 of BOLO's top 25 for stealing a car, you're at the top of this list because we believe you pose a serious threat to any person in any place where you may be. Brian Fuentes-Gramajo fits that bill. In this case, it's first-degree murder. On the surface, we're talking about the death of a young man who was shot and killed in a parking lot of a Toronto mall on July 17th of this year.
It was 6:13 in the morning, so the mall was closed at the time. The call came in for a shooting at Yorkdale Mall, which is a big, prominent mall in Toronto, right off the 401.
So the call came in, I was at home, call came in for a shooting homicide, and I remember making my way to the scene here at the mall. When I pulled up, I could see the rideshare vehicle just outside entrance number 3 over here.
It was 6:13 a.m. when police were called to the north parking lot of Yorkdale Shopping Centre for a shooting. When first responders arrived, they found a man in his 20s lying on the sidewalk next to this blue Honda Civic, suffering from gunshot wounds.
The deceased at that time was exiting a ride-sharing company vehicle, and as soon as he stepped out, he was ambushed by two individuals, and he was shot dead, and he was pronounced deceased right at the scene.
Police uncover the attack was caught on multiple cameras.
Picture this. There are people starting out their day, going to work, people pulling into the parking lot, commuters, going about their business. All of a sudden, 2 guys jump out of a motor vehicle and attack someone and take their life. It's pretty brazen, it's loud, it's fast, and people scatter.
The rideshare driver tells police it started as a typical drop-off.
At this point in time, the investigation is in its early stage. What I can tell you is that it is not a random shooting. What we know about the victim is that he's 28 years of age. He went by Little Bentley. He was a rapper. He's from the Montreal area. He does have ties to Toronto. His name is Kashif Jamal Bentley Jean.
As vehicles are towed for forensics, police canvass the community.
Video tracking is one of our investigative techniques where we literally track a car, trying to follow that vehicle, in this case, pre and post homicide.
Police uncover a white Dodge Ram had shown up minutes before the crime.
As the rideshare pulled up, there was already another motor vehicle in place prior, what I would refer to as staged. And as he was exiting, there were at least in excess of 20 shots fired. It's a miracle that nobody else got hit, the rideshare driver. And then these two guys, run back to that staged car and take off like a bat out of hell.
To multiple highway escape routes which run right off the parking lot.
We find that motor vehicle pretty quick. It was a stolen vehicle. I can't get into the specifics of it, but I can tell you that it was tracked ultimately and located in the city of Toronto. So a part of our investigation was to also review video from the theft of that motor vehicle location, and we disseminated those images through local police networks within Ontario and Quebec. And that's when we get our first break. One of the officers from Quebec was able to identify one of the individuals, one of the shooters.
They identify 20-year-old Bradley Lucate Nicholas. Trace evidence gathered by forensics helped them identify a second alleged shooter, 23-year-old Brian Fuentes Gramajo.
When we watched our video surveillance, what we were able to see was that the suspect vehicle was set up parallel, and two offenders exited the car, which we're alleging is Brian Emmanuel Fuentes and Bradley Lucate Nicholas, and they ran over and they shot Kashif Jamal Bentley Jean, and he dropped in his tracks. Then they took off back to the car on foot, back to the motor vehicle on foot, and then they exited onto Yorkdale Road.
Analysis of rideshare data leads them to a third suspect.
So Jimmy Prudent at the time was 28 years of age, and our information leads us to believe that he's a setup guy. All I can tell you is that I believe I know who was involved. The why is a question that I may never know.
Police turn the spotlight to Montreal, where all three suspects and the victim, Kashif Jamal Bentley Jean, are from. La Presse investigative journalist and crime reporter Mesa Farah has been following the case.
In the last 6 years, there has been a lot of shootings and murders related to all kinds of different conflicts, between gangs. For me, it's kind of a classic gang-related murder in the sense that there was a lot of tensions prior to that between gangs.
So Mr. Fuentes Gramajo is wanted for first-degree murder right now. He is a resident of Montreal. He does have ties to a gang out in Montreal, and also this gang is associated to the Vancouver Lower Mainland as well.
The gang is called Zone 43 from northern Montreal.
2706. If you ain't finished, shoot.
Kashif Bentley Jean was a very well-known gang member based in Montreal, affiliated before with Rolling 90s, and then who then created his own clique called A1. He was also affiliated with Zone 43, which is a gang from Montreal North. So he was known also as Lil Bentley.
Bentley was allegedly involved in the murder of Cedric Belisar, a member of the Zone 43 gang.
We do know from sources, both police and criminal sources, that the day after Cedric Belisar's death, there was a contract put on Lil Bentley's head. So that's why allegedly both murders could be related.
A man has been arrested and police are looking for 2 others in a fatal shooting at Yorkdale Mall last month. Toronto police arrested 20-year-old Bradley Nicholas of Montreal on Monday, charging him with first-degree murder. 2 other men you see here, Brian Emmanuel Fuentes Gramajo and Jimmy Prudent, remain at large and are wanted on the same charge. The charges are connected to the shooting death of Kashif Jamal Bentley Jean in the mall's parking lot on July 17th. Police warn the 2 outstanding suspects are considered armed and dangerous.
Brian is 5'6", he's 144 pounds. Visually, he will stand out. He has a scar above the left eyebrow. He has a tattoo on his left temple. He has a tattoo under his right eye. He's got tattoos on both sides of his neck, back, and arms.
We believe he's within Montreal and Toronto. We have no indications to suggest that he's left Canada right now, with our partners with the U.S. So he's around.
It's extremely important to get him off the streets.
So whether you're in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, or anywhere else in this country or beyond, our ask is simple. Be on the lookout. And if you know something, if you see something, say something. My message to Mr. Fuentes Gramajo and all the fugitives on this list, your world got a lot smaller. There are millions of eyes looking for you. We will find you. Call your lawyer and turn yourself in.
Welcome back to Crime Beat. When the nation's most wanted are believed by police to have fled the country, the hunt immediately goes global, forcing authorities to rely on international forces and tools like the Interpol Red Notice. Case in point, Quebec's Dave Pick Turmel, Canada's #1, alleged to be hiding and running his operation from Europe. Here now is Mike Armstrong with Manhunt.
Ceglie Messapico, on the outskirts of Rome. An ancient town known for its stone walls and its vacation rentals, and most recently, one very wanted guest. Well, there have been reports and rumors for months that Dave Pick Turmel may be in Europe, possibly Portugal. Well, as it turns out, his most recent and last hiding spot was in the suburbs of Rome. Now, Turmel was at the top of Canada's most wanted list, suspected of leading the Blood family mafia street gang, even while on the run.
Wherever he is, he seems to be pulling the strings on a lot of things happening in our communities.
The Blood family mafia is a street gang, according to police, led by a Dave Pick Turmel. His Facebook profile may say he studied at Harvard. He did not. Turmel instead, according to police, leads a network of dealers and is refusing to give the Hells Angels a cut. The BFM gang has been at war with the Hells Angels for more than a year in a conflict over drugs. Traffickers normally pay a 10% tax to the Hells to sell on their territory. The BFM refused and fought back. Failure to pay tends to mean conflict. Félix Séguin is one of Quebec's top crime reporters.
A large percentage of the murders that occurred in Montreal, in the surroundings, in all the province, are somehow related to the payment or the absence of payment of this tax.
To force his point, police say Turmel's men have resorted to a level of violence inspired by Mexican drug cartels.
Dis-moi que les motards, c'est des salopes. Dis-moi que tu vas travailler pour BFM.
C'est choquant au niveau des policiers parce qu'effectivement, il y a la violence.
Well, it's shocking for police officers. The criminal world means violence, inevitably. There was a certain level of violence within their group which they themselves managed. But now, when it's reached the point where there are attempted murders, mutilations, kidnappings, it takes the game up a notch. And that's why there's a lot of police pressure right now.
It was here in February in the village of Saint Malachie. Members of the independent gang, the Blood family mafia, spent days inflicting pain on their enemies. They also filmed and shared parts of it.
Let's call it the way it is. That's torture, and I was shocked. I've never seen that in Quebec. But I mean, Mike,
we've seen terrible things.
We've heard terrible things. But now we see terrible things. That's a major difference for me.
On veut montrer notre puissance.
They want to show their strength with it. It lets them scare people. Instead of my enemy going after me, he's so scared that he won't even do battle. A war not fought is a war you've won.
Une guerre gagnée, c'est une guerre qu'on fait pas.
Everything changed with the February kidnappings. There was too much media attention, and police went after the independent gangs.
The suspects that we're looking for that are not in Quebec, we're working with different authorities. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
33 people linked to the Blood family mafia were arrested, rounded up basically in a weekend. Turmel is believed to be in Europe, possibly moving between Portugal and Spain, but still directing henchmen.
Même si le boss, le chef.
Ronnie says if a gang's boss is in prison or in exile or on the moon, if he's not dead, he's still active.
As soon as that was clear for the Quebec police that Dave Turmel was waging this war from abroad, they asked Interpol to help them catch him.
Interpol put out a red notice for Turmel, and Quebec's new fugitive apprehension unit has been tracking him.
We had information could be in so many countries, probably about 10. So in Europe, in Africa, in South America. So there was tips for about many countries.
They were close to catching him in Portugal.
When Dave Turmel was in Portugal, he was with one of his friends. His name is Rubens Denis. And the Portuguese police finally caught Mr. Dennis in a hotel in Portugal, and Dave Turmel was at the same place at the same time. We learned that if he was there 8 minutes before, he would have been caught with Mr. Dennis.
Police believe he then went on the move in Europe.
People, they know that they are number one, so they have to change their habits. They have to move from a safe place to another, and that's what we want, because they will commit error. When we feel that we are approaching him, then all people are putting more effort to locate the fugitive, and that's what happened.
Tracking him down in Italy.
We have information that he was in Italy. We were able to locate the precise address, and then we asked Italian authorities to go forward to do the check.
Italian police chose to strike at nighttime to have the benefit of the surprise effect that could help them arrest him really quick.
Turmel was found in a small short-term rental apartment on the outskirts of Rome. Police say he tried to barricade himself inside when they arrived. When he surrendered, they say he gave them identification with a fake name.
But what we learned is he was living on 5 different identities. He was driving a Mercedes. He has a girlfriend, German girlfriend, who was living with him.
Italian state police shared this photo Friday. 2 officers standing in front of a table with several items, including a Canadian passport and a Quebec driver's license. Police say in capturing the 29-year-old, they also seized drugs, several SIM cards, and some sort of ledger. Turmel is now being held in a prison closer to downtown, less than a kilometer from the Vatican. Police were offering a reward of up to $250,000 for information leading to Turmel's arrest. That may be what happened.
We can surely say that the reward was so attractive that it helps someone who was really close to the whereabouts of Turmel to commit treason. Because I know that for a fact, that the reward has been totally or partially paid to a police informant.
In addition to their global strategy to diminish urban violence in Montreal, police believe the capture of Turmel has helped reduce the level of violent crime in the city. Turmel now awaits extradition home to Canada.
Welcome back to Crime Beat. Since 2018, the majority of the top most wanted have been captured, both domestically and abroad. This includes Rabih Alkhalil, who was convicted of murder in absentia, setting off a worldwide search. Remarkably, this was not the first time he had been caught and returned to justice after fleeing the country. Here now is Jules Knox with Manhunt.
Take a good look at this face. Information leading to his arrest could net you up to $250,000.
If you know where Rabih Alkhalil is, we don't need your name. We don't need your location. We just need to find him.
Rabih Alkhalil has been convicted twice for murder and has ties to organized crime. In July, Alkhalil escaped from the North Fraser Pretrial Center in Port Coquitlam with the help of 2 others posing as contractors.
This reward will be paid if the information provided led to the arrest of Mr. Alkhalil. Period. There are no other conditions.
On the evening of January 17, 2012, the temperature in Vancouver dipped below freezing. But deep in the heart of downtown, the Sheraton Wall Center was buzzing with energy.
Dip Dury had gone in with a friend, sat at this table by the window. His friend, he went out for a smoke.
The shooter arrives nearby, comes in disguise through the revolving glass doors into the lobby. In the lobby, there's a number of people milling about.
And the shooter literally walked up to the table when Dury was there by himself after ordering food and shot him point blank range.
Police swarmed the hotel after the 8:45 p.m. shooting. Ironically, 36-year-old Sandeep Dip Dury was sitting in public at a window seat in the Top Flight Hotel restaurant, out on bail for fleeing from police. But apparently he couldn't flee from a rival gang.
The whole Dury family was very high profile here. You know, we not only knew that it was gang related, we had a good sense of who would have been behind it.
Across the country, in Toronto, College Street West is the cornerstone of Little Italy. The neighborhood is home to the city's oldest gelateria, the Sicilian Sidewalk Cafe. On June 18, 2012, 5 months after the Vancouver shooting, Eurocup fans packed onto its patio for the game between Italy and Ireland. At halftime, Italy was leading 1-0.
An unknown person enters the patio by himself and seats at a table by himself. He's dressed in a construction-style outfit, orders a beverage from the staff. And while the staff are in the process of getting that order for him, he then gets up and engages our victim and shoots him point blank multiple times before fleeing the area on foot.
What I can confirm is 2 victims right now. Our homicide squad is on scene, however, they've just arrived as well, so I don't have anything further on the victims.
Johnny Raposo was enjoying a drink in the cafe when a trigger man came up and assassinated him, essentially.
He was a family man. He had a child and had another one on the way.
No! No!
Police say Raposo, also known as Little Johnny and Johnny Maserati, was targeted. The gunman, who was dressed as a construction worker wearing a white dust mask, fired shots point blank at Raposo's head. Another man who was also injured in the shooting is expected to survive.
This is a very extensive investigation that we're conducting. This is the very, very beginning of that investigation. There is a lot of legwork still to do.
During the investigation, police intercepted hundreds of messages that wove a web of betrayal. And they started taking a closer look at some of the victims' business associates.
Rabih Alkhalil, his name came up as someone who was of interest.
And there was evidence that Johnny Raposo had been part of this criminal organization that Alkhalil was also a part of that was importing, exporting cocaine. And that for some reason they had a falling out with him and they decided to take him out.
Before Canadian officers were able to catch Rabih Alkhalil, the suspected killer left the country.
It was quite some time later he turned up in Greece, was found to have a false passport, and was taken into custody by Greek authorities.
Upon Rabih Alkhalil's return to Canada, he first faced court in Toronto for the murder of John Raposo.
It all apparently began over a grudge and money. 3 of the men found guilty, Nicola Nero, Martino Caputo, and Rabih Alkhalil, were allegedly involved in cocaine trafficking and hired a hitman to kill 35-year-old John Raposo. The jury then delivered their verdict, all guilty of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder.
A decade after the killing, Rabih Alkhalil then faced trial for Sundip Dure's murder at the Sheraton Wall Centre. Alkhalil was accused of hiring a hitman to gun down his rival. On the evening of July 21st, 2022, instead of being in a high-security penitentiary, Rabih Alkhalil was held at a facility in Port Coquitlam because he was on trial.
My phone starts blowing up and I see Alkhalil's escaped. You know, it was still early evening. It had happened within an hour of getting these messages. And I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. We see on the surveillance video 2 people posing as contractors. They wore masks over their faces. And these guys used a plasma torch to cut through from part of the jail into the yard so he could go into the area that they were in. He got this vest on. You see them getting into a white van. They take off. The van was later abandoned.
Alkhalil's connections range from across Canada to the United States, Europe and Asia. A Canada-wide arrest warrant and an Interpol red notice are being prepared.
3 years later, Alkhalil was found to be hiding in the Middle Eastern country of Qatar.
BC's elite gang unit, CFSEU, finally confirming the capture of fugitive killer Rabih Alkhalil. Alkhalil was taken down by a police dog in Qatar September 5th.
CFSEU says it's working with Interpol and international partners to have Alkhalil return to Canadian soil, but no timeline has been set.
We are working with them, Interpol, as well as our international partner, for the next steps, which is getting the paperwork to Qatar, to their officials, and the process of bringing him back to Canada.
Qatar is fugitive heaven. Canada has no extradition treaty with Qatar. The alternative is diplomatic, multi-year chats, or an arrangement, which is let's make a deal. We have someone you want, you have someone we want, and they trade.
Welcome back to Crime Beat. The Bolo Reward Program is a key weapon in the hunt for Canada's most wanted. By widely posting images and details of alleged crimes, the program makes it very difficult for those suspects to hide from the public eye. In the case of Jonathan Ouellette-Gendron, that international exposure, according to police, was one of the reasons why he turned himself in. Here again is Jules Knox with Manhunt.
It all started here on May 19th, 2022 in Saskatoon. Nestled among the green tree-lined streets is a condo complex at 710 Melrose Avenue.
911, where's your emergency?
At 10:37 at 710 Melrose Avenue. On the 3rd floor, our complainant just heard something shooting off, possibly a BB gun. Then a male went running. Our complainant's unable to get a good description of the male, just saw black clothing. 10-4.
The code was unknown call for service complaint.
Yeah, control. This male is on the ground here, bleeding. We're just going to see whether he's got any pulse, but we need him here now.
So I was the second person on scene, just behind the first patrol. So I found the victim in the fetal position, just west of the main entrance in the parking lot. We didn't know who he was, didn't know what was going on. There's no one else really on scene. I just made sure there's no suspects in the area that may have firearms. Walked up to him, started to announce police just to try and get like a verbal response. He was unresponsive. As I started doing those compressions, I noticed like blood was coming out of his abdomen, and I assessed his abdomen and saw multiple gunshot wounds, like some along his belt line, one by his belly button, and that was the one that was like, every time I did a compression would spray blood out. His eyes were open, he was unresponsive, he wasn't warm to the touch. I could see he had duct tape on his face, like it was adhered to one side of his face, but it had been like pried open, but left stuck to the side of his mouth. So I kind of presumed it was like taped on across his mouth. And then on his wrist, he had white like zip ties. So like right then and there, I radioed that like this is a murder.
Our tactical support unit was working at the time, so members went in with patrol to help clear the scene.
As they arrived, and they now have a body down in the parking lot, they can tell quite quickly that it's gunshot wounds, so they know they're dealing with a firearm. They go into the building and they're able to literally follow a blood trail and blood smears through the apartment building.
Some blood in the hallway led them to one apartment, and then they also noticed blood leading to another apartment that they had to verify and make sure that wasn't our crime scene. So ultimately they did determine what our crime scene was. It was an empty apartment. There was definite signs of a struggle. There was bullet holes throughout the apartment. There was blood in the apartment. Furniture was knocked over. They did locate some zip ties and some duct tape in the apartment as well, which led us to believe that this was possibly more than just a random shooting. The victim was identified positively by our forensic analysts. They were able to determine his identification through fingerprints.
The man found murdered in the parking lot of a Saskatoon condo complex was identified as 29-year-old Brandon Baxendall.
I was definitely in shock. I didn't really believe it. He was always quiet and taking in everything around him. He wasn't a show-off and didn't have to be the loudest person in the room to have a strong presence.
The couple had been together for nearly 8 years.
He was a dad. He had 2 little kids, a little boy and a little girl.
When was the last time you heard from Brandon?
About 20 minutes before he was killed. I was with both my kids at a sporting event. We were planning to have him come and pick up our son. He said he would be there right away. He just had to do something quickly, and then we didn't hear back from him.
We believe that Brandon was there to either buy drugs or deal drugs. When he got in there, we believe that he was overtaken by 2 or 3 individuals. He was put in zip ties.
He was much bigger and much more fit than the people that were trying to do it. We also learned after the fact that he was armed. My belief is that they were probably going to try and attach him to a piece of furniture to keep him somewhere, and that he found an opportune time as they were attempting to do this to him to then fight back.
And we believe he was able to escape the zip ties, and once that occurred, a gunfight ensued. And once the gunfire ended, there was approximately 8 rounds fired. Once that ended, everyone fled the scene. So what we're gonna have is Ali running first. He'll be reaching at his belt area in pain. He had been shot. And then shortly behind him will be Olet Gendron.
Muhammad Ali was familiar with the area. Olet Gendron didn't realize about this drop, I don't think, or in the panic kept running. He actually falls off of this little precipice, drops a bunch of items, including some of the zip ties. He gathers himself, gathers his items, and then continues after Ali. The next time that he comes to our attention is in Toronto.
Police had finally caught up with their prime suspect in May of 2023, nearly a year after Brandon Baxendall's murder.
They were able to confirm that Jonathan Gendron was renting that apartment under an assumed name. The next day, actually, we were hoping he was going to get arrested, but the night before, he's seen on video packing up and leaving. He does get into this white Cobalt, but him getting into that vehicle is the last time we've seen him.
We weren't able to identify the vehicle, any persons involved, and where Jonathan went to after that.
Police say Jonathan Olet Gendron's trail goes cold, and his whereabouts stay a mystery for a little over 3 years, until they get a very surprising call.
I'm sitting at my desk working and Chad walks into the office and said, "You're not going to believe this."
On August 1st, 2025, I was contacted and informed that Jonathan had reached out to his family who reside in Quebec and told them that he was currently in Mexico, he was tired of running and wanted to turn himself in to the authorities.
It was just really hard to believe that this was happening.
After being notified, I reached out to Jonathan's family and they actually put me on a three-way call with Jonathan. So he told me that he was tired of running, he was in Mexico, he was healthy, he was worried about getting arrested in Mexico and ending up in a Mexican prison.
You know, there was a lot of media blitz, there was a lot of work done by Crime Beat, by Bolo, by the Saskatoon Police Service.
Jonathan was well aware that he was wanted. He was aware of the $50,000 Bolo reward. He told me during the interview that he would monitor the internet from time to time. And he actually even watched one of the Global Crime Beat episodes featuring him, so he was well aware of that. So he wanted to turn himself in to Canadian authorities and just move on, get this over with.
They discover what happened after he left that apartment in Toronto.
In the middle of the night, he jumped in a car with his belongings and he went to Montreal. And he stayed in Montreal for approximately a month. And then he knew that he needed to get out of Canada.
How he did that, which was quite interesting, was he went to a First Nation community that is situated along the Canada-United States border. He paid people to take him across a waterway into New York State by a jet ski. Once he was in New York, he took a bus to San Diego, California. Once in San Diego, he hired some other people to transport him illegally across the border into Mexico on a motorcycle. The way he describes is you hop on the back of the motorbike and they just don't stop. They just weave in and out of the traffic, accelerate, and they're gone. And then he's in Mexico.
From there, he went to Cancun, Mexico, where he said he partied and lived it up for about 3 months. And when the party scene got too much and he was out of money, he decided to go to a little surf town in Mexico where he got a job, a legitimate job, he said, working construction. And at one point, he said he got basically kidnapped by the cartel and he was held for 3 or 4 hours and was beat up quite severely. They were demanding money from him. They knew that he had a $50,000 reward against him from the Bolo program.
He described that as being a wake-up call to him. So that's what kind of started the thought process of turning himself in. Because in my 24 years of policing, this was a first for me. I had a wanted male, he was wanted for homicide. He's wanting to turn himself in. He's in another country illegally, has no passport, no ID, no money, no bank account. And how do we get him back to Canada safely?
So we were able to get him on a plane and we had officers waiting in Montreal to arrest him. So once the plane landed, officers went onto the airplane and arrested Mr. Ouellette Gendron.
Very emotional. Right when I got word that the handcuffs were on Jonathan, the very first call I made was to Brandon's mother. I believe the first words out of my mouth when she answered was, "We got him." She was in complete shock. She put me on speakerphone with the rest of the family where I went over the week's events and how things transpired, so it was a very emotional conversation with them.
Welcome back to Crime Beat. Half of Canada's most wanted are now behind bars, with many arrested internationally, including Cody Casey in Oman, Kamara Cunningham in Atlanta, Georgia, and Harry Rajkumar in Guyana. One police organization has been instrumental in helping track them down: Interpol. Crime Beat got an inside look at how they operate across continents. Here now is the conclusion of Manhunt.
After 11 years on the run, an infamous BC man wanted for murder has been arrested in Isla Verde, Puerto Rico.
After more than a year on the run, one of the provinces and the country's most wanted fugitives has finally been arrested and taken into custody south of the border in California.
A convicted gun trafficker has been arrested in the United States.
After more than 6 years on the run, one of Canada's most wanted suspects is behind bars tonight. Police say Harry Rajkumar was located and arrested in Guyana in December and has now been extradited back to Canada.
Once they go abroad, Canada has to interact with multiple police forces around the world. And they do that through Interpol.
Interpol, the organization itself, is known as the largest police organization in the world, and there are currently 196 countries that are members of Interpol. Interpol was created in Vienna, Austria in 1923, and the purpose was to capture fugitives. There are 19 databases that Interpol has that allows law enforcement around the world to access information in real time. So if we know of a fugitive that is traveling somewhere or potentially in another country, the Interpol will allow us to just connect with the other country right away to gather whatever information that we require. There's a database on stolen cars. So any country could run a car and then would know if it's stolen in another country. It could be a stolen work of art, it could be a DNA, it could be a missing person. If anytime somebody runs and there's a hit against a database, automatically the NCB will get alerted. That averages to about 25 million searches a day. So if you do the math, it's 293 searches per second. We also have an international network of RCMP liaison officers. There are about 70 liaison officers in all regions of the world, so we have all continents covered. So their job is basically to be our boots on the ground in order to advance what Canadian police requires to advance their investigation.
One of Interpol's most powerful tools is the Red Notice.
It's an alert that is published to all 196 countries member of Interpol. A picture is going to be in the Red Notice. Fingerprints are going to be on the Red Notice. There's going to be a summary of the occurrence, so what happened, and the crimes that they're wanted in Canada. I mean, it's normally serious crime, which could be, murder, organized crime, terrorism, major frauds. Canada currently has 181 active Red Notices for individuals wanted in Canada that are believed to be abroad. So currently Interpol globally has over 125,000 active Red Notices.
Every one of us, every police officer serving in this room, every member of the public who's watching, listening, or reading about this announcement have a part to play in locating these wanted fugitives.
While the hunt for the suspects is making huge gains, there are many still at large. For the families of the victims, a painful wait for justice. So police are asking the public to look closely at Canada's top 25 most wanted.
Catherine and a number of her associates were involved in a auto theft ring. She is wanted for murder. It was on August 8th of 2024. Catherine fatally stabbed one of her associates who was at the time a 16-year-old youth and left him for dead.
Mr. Barry's wanted for second-degree murder in Toronto. Innocent 43-year-old male, simple argument on a sidewalk. Words were exchanged and Mr. Robertson Barry turned around and had a firearm on him and shot him for no reason over a simple verbal comment that was made.
We just ask the public to be our eyes and ears. They don't have to become involved. We're not asking them to apprehend anybody, but if they see something, say something.
For the latest on Canada's most wanted, you can go to boloprogram.org. If you have any information, you are asked to call Crime Stoppers. Thank you for joining us tonight on Crime Beat. I'm Anthony Robart. Want more episodes of Crime Beat? Listen to the Crime Beat podcast, now for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. And for past episodes of Crime Beat, go to the Global TV app, visit globaltv.com, or check out our Crime Beat YouTube page.